Alright, this video is going to be all about creating a strong password. So, creating a strong password is very important because anything you do on the internet, any accounts you have or websites, usually you have to log into them. And you have to realize that at any time, someone is capable of stealing your password or finding that password out and then taking any secure information or things you have on that website and using it. So you always have to be on your guard. So you're going to be asking how you create a strong password. So the first step is something that's not easily guessed. For instance, if I have a dog, and if the dog's name is, I don't know, Rover, you don't want your password to be Rover, okay? So that would be so easy. If I know your pet's name, I know your password. Some people use just the word password for their password. That would be a terrible idea because, for one, that's the one most commonly used password, I believe. People also like to use 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are all really weak passwords. So you want something that you can remember. So something you remember, but that's not easily guessed. So you have to kind of think in your mind, what is a good password that I will remember, but that other people won't guess so easy. Also, you probably want to use a mix of numbers, words, or symbols. So when you put numbers, words, and symbols all mixed together in a password, that creates a really strong password. So if I want to do my pet's name, Rover, that is a bad password. Instead, you would do something like capital, well, let's even say without capital, there's R0 V3R. So something like that is a stronger password, okay? So you see how I've mixed letters in with that? Instead of doing Rover, I did kind of maybe some numbers mixed with letters that look like letters there. So that's stronger because people might guess Rover, but how many people are going to guess R0V3R? And that's a step up. People still will guess that. Something even stronger would be using a symbol. So if I go R0V3R, and then I use like a exclamation point after it, that's even stronger because even though people might guess this part, which would be even more unlikely than guessing this, that exclamation point is going to make it even more secure. And now, maybe for the final thing you can do a capital in there. So R0V3, I don't know, let's do another capital R, exclamation point. This, even though it's very short, would be an extremely good password. It has capital letters and lower cases. It has numbers, and it also has a symbol. This is kind of like the gold standard of passwords right here. You have everything you need to make it secure. However, you can do something else. You can make a password even more secure if it lets you. So sometimes this is a short, great password now. But let's say you have the option to make the strongest possible password. So what I would do is, if I'm going to make a really strong password, but again, you have to remember these, I would type out like a phrase or sentence. So I might type out, I don't know, let's get rid of capitals for now. I live in Hastings. So notice this password here. It includes a full sentence. And if the website lets you, some websites won't let you, you'll have to use these shorter ones. But if a website lets you do longer passwords, this is a great password because it's a full sentence. And sometimes we remember sentences better than singular words for passwords. So I put this sentence there. And notice it also has spaces. So I would type spaces in my passwords fields, and that would also count. So that would be even more secure. And let's say I want to get crazy. I want the maximum possible kind of password security here. Let's say I want to replace all my vowels here with a number. So instead of I'm just going to use 1 for all the vowels. And, oh, there's one more. And I'm going to put an exclamation point after it. Now, this is probably the most secure password you will have. It's a phrase. I have a mix of letters and numbers and a symbol. And the way I remember things like this is, if I do a sentence password, I remember that I substitute all the vowels with something. So let's say if I do a password here, I'm going to substitute all the vowels with 1s or all the vowels with 3s or something like that. Create a standard for yourself, or maybe you do every S with the letter 3 or something like that. This would be an extremely secure password. This almost certainly very secure. And as we go down the line here, this is less and less secure. Doing this is not secure. This is not a good password. Do not put single words or things like that as your password, because it's way too easily broken into. Lastly, for each website you visit, you should have a different password. So maybe this here is my password for, I don't know, we use Wix in tech class. Maybe that's the password for Wix.com. Maybe I have this password for, I don't know, whatever other websites we use. So maybe that's my password for Tinkercad.com. That's another website we use in tech class. And I would go down this list here. So I would just make all these different passwords for each website if you want to be the most secure. But it's up to you to remember them. You have to be responsible and remember all of these passwords, or write them in a safe space and give them to your parents, possibly. That would be a good solution, maybe. But you want a different password, usually, for each different website you visit. Because if you have the same password and somebody guesses that one password, guess what? They have access to all of the websites you use and all of your information. You have to be very careful on the internet with this. So this is a very brief overview of how to create a strong password. We will talk more about this in technology class as well, because it's extremely important.